Hey guys, welcome to my den. I hope you're all doing well. I'm Chingo, which literally means friend in Korean. It's not my real name, but it's one of my so-called nicknames. Think of me as your friend who's helping you stay up to date with K-dramas as well as Korean movies. I love making commentaries, reviews, and explanation videos about dramas, movies, characters, and etc. Grab your snacks because today's tea is about to be hot, hot, hot. Road, The Tragedy of One is a new Korean drama that came out 2 weeks ago. It has a similar concept to K-dramas such as The Penthouse and Sky Castle, because the drama revolves around a place called the Royal Hill where only the top 1% of South Korea live. The drama focuses on 4 families. Our main family is composed of Big Soo-yeon, a popular and respected anchorman who works at BSN Newsroom, his wife Soon-soo, a chibar and a popular miniature artist, and their song Baekhyun-nu. The second family is composed of anchorwoman Cha Song-yeon and her husband Cho Nam-kyu and their children Cho Sera and Cho Jun-young. The third family is composed of Sokite, the chairman of Jijung Group, and So In-soo's father, his second wife Baek Kyung-suk, and their son So Jong-wook. The last family is composed of Wang Tae-sub, an important political figure, and his wife Young Song-ja. All these names may seem daunting, but as the drama progresses, you guys will familiarize yourself with them. Besides the main families, there are other main important figures such as the security chief/bodyguard, workers from BSN Newsroom, the police, and people from the main characters' past. The premise of the drama is that terrible circumstances begin to take place in the lives of Big Soo-yeon and So-in-soo, and due to this, they are forced to do whatever it takes to keep their family safe. Today, I will be reviewing episode 1 and 2 from the drama The Road, The Tragedy of One, while also sharing some of my own theories. I will be creating a playlist specifically for the K-drama. The link will be in my description box. In the start of episode 1, we see Big Soo-yeon and Sokite in the forest hunting deers with their gun. I found that the exchange between the two was very hostile. It was as if they were ready to kill each other. I think Kite doesn't like the fact that Soo-yeon married his daughter. He probably knows details about Soo-yeon's past that he isn't fond of. I also think that Sokite looks down on his daughter Eun-soo because he commented on how she made a lot of effort to read a piece of paper. Maybe she's sick, but I feel like he was simply looking down on her whilst assuming that she doesn't know anything. Sokite is in fact a controlling and violent person, especially when he doesn't get his ways. He is skeptical of Soo-yeon because he can't read him, while Soo-yeon is able to read someone's mannerisms in order to detect whether they are foes or friends. Soo-yeon often reveals very big scandals on his news network. This causes him to have many enemies. He was even followed by someone called Park Song-won, who used to be a big shot paparazzi until Soo-yeon exposed his secrets to the world. At the newsroom where he works, Soo-yeon usually does not follow the orders from his supervisors when they advise him to refrain from revealing certain secrets to the public. His supervisors fear media scrutiny because they receive funding from the very organizations that Big Soo-yeon exposes. Furthermore, the fact that Soo-yeon's words are considered factual by viewers angers his supervisors a lot. I think Soo-yeon is right not to trust his director because she seems to be working for someone else. She also seems to be trying to ask Soo-yeon whether he has the original version of a document that many wealthy people are trying to get their hands on. We never get a full understanding of what the original is, but I assume that it's a ledger that will bring down many wealthy people if its contents are revealed. This is why the director is trying to get her hands on it in order to protect her superiors, and maybe to even have leverage over them in the future. The director of the newsroom, her name is Kwang Yo-jin by the way, met with Cha So-yeon in the car and they seem to have an interesting relationship. I'm still not sure why, but I feel as though Yo-jin tries her best to please So-yeon. Maybe they are simply friends or more, but I've noticed how submissive Yo-jin is in front of So-yeon, so I'm interested to learn their backstory as the drama progresses. It has been made clear that Soo-yeon hates Big Soo-yeon, and I feel as though she tries to use Yo-jin to dig out info so that they can take Soo-yeon down. At one instance, Soo-yeon and Cha So-yeon met in the lobby in the newsroom, and he looked at her pen and asked her to be careful. This is the same pen that Soyeon wore while meeting Yojin. I wonder if Soyeon is secretly recording with her pen because it doesn't seem like a regular pen in my eyes. Or maybe I've just watched too many dramas where pens are used as recording devices. When it comes to Royal the Hell, Soyeon describes it as a place where no secret can escape and no truth can enter. In a place where lies and hypocrisy live. One must be careful to not cross boundaries at all times because once crossed, you can never go back. That's what he said of it. It's important to note that there are no security cameras at the Royal, and this brings comfort to the wealthy so that they know that their deeds, evil or not, will not be documented. Although they've been married for a while, Seon and his wife Eun-soo are still very passionate with each other, and I love that for them. Because sometimes we see married couple becoming only friends or roommates. I'm not saying it's wrong to be friends, but I just find it refreshing to see that this married couple is still so in love. We saw a contrast between their family and some of the other families at Royal Hill. Cha So-yeon and Cho Nam-kyu had a very passionate time as well, but when it comes to them, I feel like they get like this after drinking and in order to avoid talking or dealing with bad news. We see Cho Se-ra, who we learn is just Cho Nam-kyu's daughter, looking at the pair with disgust. I think she's just living with them out of obligation since she has nowhere else to go. I wonder what happened to her real mom. As for Won Tae-sub and Young Song-ja, we saw the wife looking at her husband with disdain as he shined his shoes. I get the vibe that she finds him to be a vain person who's always seeking to impress others. She seems to look down on him, and he also doesn't seem to treat her with much respect. As for Sokite's family, we saw him having dinner with Baek Kyung-suk and their son So Jong-yuk. The son seems to pity his mom and how she's always trying to cater to the dad. Jong-wook gives me the vibe of the Penthouse kids. Him and Sera both give me that vibe. The whole my family is rich and I'm also sad and overwhelmed, so I will bully people. But I hope I'm wrong. During one scene, Eun-soo gave Soo-yeon a medication and I wonder what it's for. We also saw Eun-soo looking at papers in a box while hiding them. I wonder if those are the original copies that everyone's looking for or if she herself is involved in something sinister. Speaking of the original, in order to obtain it, Soo-yeon had to look for someone named Kim Sok-pil, and we quickly learned that he and Soo-yeon knew each other from their past. The man's real name is Yoo Dong-pil, and he told Soo-yeon not to betray him like he did in the past. So far, we don't know what happened between them in the past, but we do know that Sok-pil has the ledger and demands that Soo-yeon helps him out. Otherwise, his son will die. And because of this threat, Soo-yeon ran all the way to his son's baseball game in order to keep him safe. Yeonu had lost the game, but he was very happy to see his dad. His friend Jun-young looked at the father-son duo with what looked like envy. Poor child doesn't seem to get much love from his own parents. After a while, the three of them made their way back to Soo-yeon's home at the Royal the Hells. By the way, the daughter Sera has a jewelry box and it seems to be meaningful. I wonder if it's a music box memento from her dad or just something that has a valuable piece of evidence. I guess we'll learn later on. While at the Royal Hill, everyone got ready for the party and Eun-soo ended up helping Jong-yoon change into a suit because his mom did not want to pick him up. He seems depressed and he even told his friend that he's lucky, and I quote, because your dad is your dad and your mom is your mom. Maybe he knows that he's not their real child or that he's adopted, but either way, he seems to carry the world's weight on his shoulders at such a young age. While at the party, there was a tension because no one seemed to expect Baek Soo-yeon to come, but the tension quickly dissipated. Soo-yeon was still looking for Kim Sok-pil, and he asked Yoon-soo to make sure to keep an eye on their son. At the party, Sokite announced that he had drafted his will, and his wife looked at Eun-soo with disdain because she was sure that Eun-soo knew about the will. After confronting Eun-soo, the wife Kyung-suk went to Sokite's office to find the will. To be honest, I highly doubt that he would have left his only copy of the will somewhere where others can easily access. Either way, Kyung-suk took the wheel and we saw Song-ja lurking in the darkness. I think Song-ja knows more than she lets on, and she will have valuable intel in the future. She also seems to be suppressing her true nature, while also only following her husband's instructions. I think she harbors resentment against him, judging by the way she looks at him. Moving on, Seon and Eun-soo quickly noticed that their son was missing, and they went all around looking for him. I think it's important to mention, by the way, that while Eun-soo got out of her car, I sensed that someone was watching her, which is eerie to think about since access to Royal is restricted to only people who live there, meaning that we either have a trespasser on our hands or an insider lurking near the family's home. Seon's home office was in an uproar. The person who did this could be the same person who was watching their house outside. I doubt that the person is Sukbil because he said he has the original. So why would he come looking for stuff in Seon's home office if he has the original? Well, that is unless he doesn't. But it's clear that Seon is looking for the original himself. So I think that the person who was looking in the house was probably the bodyguard or people sent by the director. I think that Eun-soo might have had a miscarriage in the past, by the way, because she mentioned not wanting to lose someone she loves once again. Or maybe she had a very close family member or friend who passed away. The girl always looks worried, on edge, and depressed, even when she smiles, making me wonder what she's hiding behind her smile. Seon received a call from a burner phone, and he was told to prepare money if he wanted his son to be alive. In desperation, Seon ran to Sokite's house to ask for money, but the latter refused to do so right away while reassuring Seon that he cares about his bloodline and would never do anything to hurt his blood. I think that this piece of information is important to note for the future for the drama in the future. And after receiving an address, Seong gets on the road without calling the police because that's what he was told, and he also brings a bunch of money in the suitcase as he was instructed. When he arrived, the caller asked him to go to a different location because he was being followed. I found it interesting how the caller already knew that Seon had not called the police. My theory is that the caller is either Sukbil or someone who knows him, but it could also be the bodyguard. I say this because the caller asked Seon not to betray him once again, just like Sukbil had mentioned the other day. At the new location, Seon trips and his last memory is of brown shiny shoes walking by him. These shoes could belong to so many people, but my highest suspicions are on the bodyguard and Hwante Sub because she was so worried and hadn't heard back from her husband. Eun-soo ended up calling the police, and one of the police chiefs turned out to be someone that Seon knew from the past, and his name is Shim Suk-eun. And after a lot of searching, the police and Seon received a location for his son's body. And right away, it seems like this is a case of mistaken identity, because the kid who was killed is Junyoung and not Yeonu. We also saw a scene where the grandpa watched Yeonu as he slept, meaning that the whole time he watched Seon panicking about his son's disappearance, even though he already knew where Yeonu was. Fast forward to episode 2, Seon seemed relieved to know that his child wasn't the dead one, but you could tell that he and Eun-soo were still sad about everything that had happened. It was revealed that the killer had killed Junyoung as soon as he was abducted. I wonder how the killer knew about the snowboard's name. My guess is that the killer is someone who knows the family personally. Otherwise, it would be hard to know such an intimate piece of information. Junyoung's dad came to the police station and he thanked Seon for doing his best to save his child. It was very painful to see the sadness in his eyes. When Seon came to the station, she was very upset, and it was a bit strange, not gonna lie, to see her being so upset since she barely took care of the kid, but I guess in the end she's still his mom and so she cares for him. Seon and Seon ended up having a private conversation where Seon asked her to let him pretend that his son is the one that died, so that the killer would think that he killed the right kid. And as it turns out, actually, Junyoung is Seon's real child. He hadn't he had an affair with Cha Soyeon. The same pin that Soyeon was wearing in episode 1 was seen in the room where the two made out. And although Soyeon refers to this as a mistake, the two seemed very passionate, and so I think he knew exactly what he was doing. I think the killer knew what he was doing as well when he killed the son. He was way too meticulous with everything to not know that Junyoung was in fact also Soyeon's son. I wouldn't be surprised if Grandpa is in on this because he said he would never hurt his bloodline, and Junyoung is not his bloodline, so he has no reason to care for him whatsoever. Furthermore, I think Sokite knows that Junyoung is Soyeon's child, and to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Eunsu knew as well. She seems to know more than she lets on. Overnight, Yeonu became blind, and I think this is his defense mechanism. I believe that he went blind because he saw Junyoung being murdered, and that's why he doesn't remember anything. I think the grandpa also witnessed the killing, and because of this, he took Yeonu to shelter. Jesora seems sad about Junyoung's death, but I also feel like she and So Jong-wook are up to something. They met a bunch of times at night, and both seem stressed. And near the end of the episode, we saw someone who was recovering from a car accident. And I think Jong-wook got into a car accident while he was in the car with Sera. Maybe the two are in a relationship or not, but they are accomplices in something. I find everyone to be suspicious in this drama, not gonna lie. I don't even trust our protagonist fully. But in a way, this makes the story even more intriguing. It turns out that the Special Investigation Unit was set up right after the kidnapping, and this causes Suyeon to be suspicious of Shim Sokun. Sokun also knows who Yoo Dong-pil is, but he was surprised to learn that the latter has changed his name to Kim Sok-pil. Out of the people in the police, I think I distrust Sokun's partner more than anyone else. He's always watching Sokun and he seems to be taking notes. It could simply because he wants to learn. It could simply be because of that. But I feel like he's either a spy or someone with a secret. Chonam-kyu is also suspicious because he lied about having a black box while at the police station. I found it interesting how his wife backed him up without any question. She thinks that he's having an affair, and to be honest, I have my doubts on that. I think he may be involved in something sinister, and that's what's keeping him away from home. Or he may as well be involved in trying to make his way up on the corporal ladder. I'm suspicious of him though because he met with Hwang Tae-sub and he has a briefcase that looks identical to the one that Suyeon had used for ransom. Speaking of Hwang Tae-sub, he came home covered in blood the night before, and I don't know what he did the next day he acted like nothing had happened while his wife took care of his dirty laundry. I think that he remembers exactly what he did and he's just testing to see if his wife will rat him out. I think Sonja might be his second wife because he said that the person who makes a man successful is his first wife and the one who stays is the second wife. This was his reply when she told him to be careful about who he keeps close. I think he's too full of himself and that he finds himself above reproach, which is why he is being condescending to his wife. I don't know if she's his first or second wife, but either way, we can understand that this was a warning for her, so that she would keep her mouth shut in the future. He wants to have a silent wife, I think. Sonja seems to always be where the action is at, and she even seems to know that Baek Hyung-suk is romantically involved with the bodyguard. I don't know if the guard is her son's real father or something, but either way, she's having an affair. Well, then again, it still hasn't been made clear whether she's married to Sokite. Right now, she seems more like his housekeeper, so we'll see. I think the bodyguard and Hyun-suk are planning to overthrow Sokite in the future, and I wouldn't be surprised if the latter already knows what's happening. I feel like Sokite gets people to do his dirty work, even though he already knows the truth. Anyways, Eunsu was visited by someone called Oh Jung-ho and his girlfriend Lee Mi-do. His girlfriend is blind and was teaching Yuno how to move around with his temporary blindness. There was a clear tension between Oh Jung-ho, Eunsu, and Seon. The three of them seemed to know each other from the past. Mido seems to sense the tension as well, and she looked frightened. I wonder if she's actually blind, to be honest. The timing of everything just seems questionable in my point of view. And during that scene, I couldn't fully understand how they all knew each other, but Jongho kept addressing them as if he was their in-law. I'm wondering if one of them had a sibling who was in a relationship with Jongho. I also actually wonder if Yuno is Sunyoon's real child, because Jongho seems to care for Yuno more than a distant relative. Plus, in the teaser, Suyeon had said that the kid that died was his biological son. So does that mean that Yuno is not his biological son? So many questions, and I'm excited to have answers for them. Yoo Dong-pil died, by the way, and I highly doubt that he committed suicide. Because first of all, who prints suicide notes? Well, I mean, I don't know, but usually people are in rush and only have time to write on paper, or not at all. Also, from the little I know about Dong-pil, he doesn't seem like someone who likes to sit down and type much. I also don't think he would kill himself so quickly because of how determined he was to save his life earlier on. Suyeon received a burner phone from someone from his past during this episode. I think that a lot of the things happening in current times have to do with the main character's past. Anyways, that was it for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Episode 3 and 4 are currently on air on Viki, but you could find them on other drama sites as well, such as Dramacool. This video was a bit long because it included a lot of background information. My review for episodes 3 and 4 will be out shortly. If you like this video and want to see more from me, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Take care, may God bless y'all, and until next time, bye!